Welcome to the Every Mom is an Athlete podcast, where we believe that motherhood is inherently athletic. I see you lifting car seats, chasing toddlers, and carrying groceries one-handed while holding a baby and a coffee. Your daily life is a workout. I'm Dr. Carly, pregnancy and postpartum expert, sports chiropractor, strength coach, entrepreneur, and mom of three. Here you'll find solo episodes and real conversations with other moms and leading experts, so you can live your strongest, healthiest, most aligned life in motherhood. No matter how long it's been since you've had your baby, whether you're reconnecting with your body, rebuilding your strength, or just figuring out what feels good again, you're in the right place. Hello, strong moms, and welcome back. Today, I'm really excited to introduce to you Erika S. Every time I post on social media and ask you guys what you want to hear, I get an overwhelming response that people want to hear these strong moms' real stories. They want to hear stories of other moms who've had babies, who have gone through the whole process and have come out on the other side getting back to the activities that they love. So I'm excited to introduce to you Erika S. She is a friend and a patient, she said I'm allowed to say that, of mine who I met actually in my clinic as a patient when she was an Ironman triathlete. This is many years ago, pre-kids, probably 13 or 14 years ago. And now she's actually a doula and also a bike fitter. So she really specializes in helping women fit their bikes properly, because if you don't know, you're supposed to be doing that, especially if you are a cyclist and like on your bike a lot, you're supposed to do it every year. There's a little plug. But her goal is to really help moms feel empowered to discuss their needs, what barriers they have, strengths they have, so that she can help you collaborate in best supporting your journey. She is just such a lovely person. She's a very supportive and authentic lady, and she just really brings out the best in all of those around her. So I'm excited to have this interview with her today and let her tell you a little bit about her story of getting back to being her athletic self. All right, strong moms, I am excited to do our second strong mom story today. So the purpose of these is just to kind of like interview other regular women who, not that they're your regular, Erika, okay, you're very special, special little flower. Other regular moms who value fitness and athletics and have gotten back to it after they've had their babies, and just to be sort of encouragement. So with that, I would like to introduce my dear friend, Erika, and I'm going to have her just kind of introduce herself, tell us a little about yourself, and then I'll start rapid firing questions at you, you know?
Yeah. I'm Erika. I'm a first-time mom and lover of Carly. And
Not a lover. She's not my lover.
I'm not. I just love and glitter. We have that in common. We bonded over that years ago. And I mean, I'm a lifelong swimmer and did softball and track growing up, and went to UW and rode, and then got into triathlons and bike racing after school. And I've been doing that pretty consistently, still bike riding more than anything. And then just trying different forms of movement because that's something I enjoy, and just kept doing that through pregnancy as well.
Yeah. How did that change for you? Like, give us a little bit of an idea of what your training looked like before. Erika is also an Ironman, so we should mention that. She's kind of a crazy athlete. But so obviously your training from before pregnancy and then during pregnancy shifted a lot. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of sports growing up, and that part of the reason I got into Ironman is because I'm ADHD. And so I like mixing it up, but also sports was really helpful for my brain to regulate and for like the rest of my life to like fall into place. And so I tried that through triathlon where it was like 3 sports in one, but I liked trying like rock climbing. I would go do yoga classes. I liked trying different things, and probably the biggest athletic endeavor was pregnancy and childbirth. My dad literally asked me, he goes, what was harder, Ironman or childbirth? And I was like, oh, hands down, childbirth. So I kind of went into it similar to a lot of my approaches to sport, which was just, I like being a beginner and learning, and my expectations for myself are lower. Like, hey, it's okay to like stumble along the way, instead of like, hey, I need to hit this time or this PR kind of thing. It's just like, let's just like touch base with my body and realize that I'm learning this new cool thing that I get to connect with if I want to.
And that was more pre-pregnancy?
That was pre-pregnancy. And then it was like, I needed to remind myself, and I needed to surround people surround myself with people that reminded me of that
Mm.
during pregnancy. Cause I was like, I have this like Queen of the Mountain on Strava on this like huge hill climb for biking. And I would be walking up it and being like
Yeah.
leaning against a tree. My partner was just like, you realize you have 50% more blood. So yeah, this is going to be harder. But I'm like, I used to have Queen of the Mountain on this hill and I can barely walk up it without stopping.
I know. I remember that too. I think I ended up filming something for social media because I walked up a hill and I was like gasping during pregnancy at the top. And I was like, I think all I wrote on it was like, I used to do CrossFit competitions. Like, and now I'm like, "Ugh," at the top of a hill, like a 1 minute walk. Yeah, it's crazy. So during pregnancy, did you continue biking, running, swimming? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, I did all of the above. I did less running because I just realized I had pubic symphysis and that was just harder on my body. And so I just had to adjust, as you know, what I did. But I led group rides and those were like social no drop rides. And there's a lot of beginners on that. And they're like, man, is this a hill? And I'm like, well, I'm pregnant. So my body will let you know if it's a hill or not.
Yeah.
It's so much harder when it's just climbing up the hill. I noticed that like hills were harder, but like flats, I didn't notice as much. But yeah, swimming, biking. I did some climbing, but then relaxing kicked in. So I had to stop doing the same type of climbing routes.
And what was that? Because your shoulders, wrists, what was bothering you?
Yeah, my shoulders and wrists and back, like I could just feel I have flexible ligaments. And so I felt those kind of detaching when I tried the harder, like reachy runs, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. So I just had to taper it back and focus on technique more than trying to do a dynamo.
Yeah. Probably not the best idea with a pregnant belly, but what do I know? What do I know? So let's tell me a little bit about, obviously, we worked through postpartum together. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I just want you to kind of, go back and remember, like, what did you feel like those first few weeks postpartum? Because I know for myself, and I always try to tell people this, I'm like, you're going to feel the weakest you've ever felt in your life. Like, that's what I remember feeling. And I'm sure not everyone feels that way. But I think if you are coming from an athletic background and then all of a sudden you like sit up in bed and you're like, gosh, that was like my core, like could hardly do that. It's like it's pretty jarring. So did you have that experience or what was your experience like?
I did. I felt weak and I just felt it was just like you hear it, a new body. Cause I had like spent more than 9 months growing a body inside my body. And then that was expelled from my body and very cute. But then like all these hormones rushed out with it. And then I had like this big hole and my organs were trying to like rearrange. And I was just like, hey, I know a lot of people just like jump back in. And I was just like, I'm going to go. I will walk if I can. I mean, I've been injured and you have too, right? As an athlete. And it's like almost a blessing in disguise because I like got pretty wrecked on like bike wrecks and some other injuries where it's just like I was bedridden for a little bit. And I just had to remind myself that when I tried to jump back from those injuries, I would get more hurt. And I had to unlearn that later down the road. And so I just tried to keep reminding myself that postpartum as well. But I did. It felt a little hollow. I couldn't engage my muscles in the same way that I was used to, even through pregnancy. It's like, last week I was able to do this thing, and this week, now that
Yeah.
my child is outside of me, I can't like engage that muscle in the same way, right?
Yeah, I always tell people that it's interesting because when the baby's in there, it's actually your body is much more stable. So like the baby is stabilizing your spine. And then once they come out, there's like you said, there's a hole. I mean, there's obviously a hole, where the placenta and everything's attached, but there's also like, there's all this room and your organs have to shift. And like, so now you actually are way less stable than, like you said, 1 week before when the baby was in there. And I just think that's like, sort of shocking. It's still, I mean, honestly, it shocks me every time. Like even this third time, I was like, it's coming, it's coming. And then I was like, God, that's crazy that it just, yeah, it's wild. So, well, obviously you did my postpartum plan. When did you start it? I can't remember. Like how far postpartum were you?
I started it in pregnancy and then I just re-engaged with your postpartum plan postpartum when I just like we were talking about, like I just had that like hollow feeling and I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I hit Carly up during pregnancy,
Yeah.
because I knew like my postpartum brain, I wouldn't reach out to people in the same way. So I actually reached out to you during pregnancy and I was like, hey, what are things that I can think of and be connected to when I know I need it, but also don't have the same capacity to reach out to people in the same way?
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I actually tell people too is get your pelvic floor PT appointment lined up. Get my postpartum plan, like, buy it, start it in your email. And then, like, that way, when you're feeling ready at 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks or whatever it is, you're like, okay, you don't have to like go and find me and then like find your credit card, like it's like, nope, there it is. But I always tell people that, like, get stuff lined up, meals, the meal train, like all that stuff before if you can, because it just like, I think it makes life easier. Your brain just doesn't work those first couple of weeks.
Right. Exactly.
As you started that plan, what besides feeling weak, what else surprised you about it? Was anything like, were you surprised like that you could do certain things, that you couldn't do certain things? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah. I felt really strong in certain ways. And I was just like, oh, well, that again, thanks to you. You like helped me during pregnancy as well, just like engage my core, and which is huge all throughout pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, right? But like diastasis recti, like that was like super painful during pregnancy and then a bit postpartum. But like those exercises and working with you like helped reduce a lot of that pain, because I was just like focusing on like breathing again, which like I'm a doula and
Yeah.
I still forgot how to breathe. Like I like do it for a
Yeah.
living and I still forgot how to breathe in my own body. I'm used to coaching
Yeah.
other people, but I'm like, ugh. So I was like, who's been through this a couple times and has a plan is Carly. And so, like, had been a couple years since I had talked to you, but I was just like, I had followed you, and I know other friends that really lived by like your plan, and you had fixed me when I was a broken triathlete, so I knew that this was like a bigger physical postpartum venture.
Oh, well, I'm just so happy to have been able to help you. It's like, it's such a joy. You were talking a little bit earlier about building the foundation and not rushing back in and re-injuring yourself. A lot of moms do rush back in, and that's like one of my, kind of soapboxes that I'm going to die on. Soapbox hill? It's a hill. I'm going to die on that hill. You shouldn't rush back in and take that time to build the foundation. So what would you say to other moms who, are highly athletic and physical and want to get back to it? What would you say to them as far as like being impatient or unsure where to start or when to start? What do you think there?
Yeah. I mean, I was only a few months, like, I had given birth only a few months before my cousin, who's also younger and also really athletic, like, ran a lot. And we just had different postpartum approaches, and every body is different, but she had that bounce back mentality. And I was like, I tried a couple times and I was like, oh, my body's telling me to rest. Like, yes, I want to do that, but this is my threshold now. And just really being in tune with that. And like, yeah, just doing those breathing exercises and not like jump rope, right? Like, I don't like, and I noticed when I was pushing myself too much, if I was doing too many reps or too heavy of weight, certain things, like I had more back pain. I was peeing myself like on those things. But like she wanted to do like a half marathon and I wanted to do a 10K. Both of us were running, but I was like, I'm going to give myself permission to walk instead of just going into like, hey, I need to run this 10K the same way. And she was like, I'm going to run the whole thing. And I think our approaches to postpartum and just that running, it was like this parallel experience of like, I felt stronger and it took longer than I wanted, but I appreciated the intentional, like slower pace of building back up and like feeling my strength build along the way. And she would come to me and be like, I'm doing all this high intensity and I don't feel that strength. I don't feel that connection to my body. And so it was her like really pushing herself and then had to like unlearn. And then she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm following this plan. You can still like come back to and meet me where I'm at and like keep building. So it doesn't mean like if you do try to jump in too fast, it doesn't mean you can't like pull back and like reground with something like your plan where, what was it, like 10 to 20 minutes a day, and not beating myself up when I couldn't do the 20 minutes. I'm like, hey, I was able to do a couple of those exercises and that's better than nothing. And it's still building to like my goal of like being strong to do, like play with my kid and eventually get back into the events I was doing.
Yeah. How long do you think until you really felt like, quote unquote, yourself again? Like how long, like physically as an athlete? When would you say? Do you remember?
Now,
Yeah.
my kid just turned 2 end of September. And yeah, I've been breastfeeding. So that was something that like I've watched a lot of my friends like breastfeed and be able to keep doing that. I was like doing bike races during pregnancy. Like I was biking up through like 9 months of pregnancy and I felt pretty strong and it just felt really different. And I had to remember that there's a lot of relaxin in my body. And so I am like a month and a half out of like weaning. So I just stopped breastfeeding about a month and a half ago. And I'm just now feeling like, oh, like, okay, I'm not like injuring myself in this way that never came about until I had a baby. I'm like, oh, that's a PR. I didn't know if I was going to get those again.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think, the breastfeeding journey, that's a whole nother episode, but like that is one thing that people don't think about is while they're still breastfeeding, your hormones are not back to where they were. And so there is that additional piece that like, you just have to consider. And especially for you, like so far out, it wasn't like you were, 3 months, 4 months into breastfeeding, it's almost 2 years, right? So I always tell my patients, like, I think this is totally just like not based on science, but what I've seen in my practice of 15 years is like, and what I felt in my body is like, I think you can get back to like 90% while you're still breastfeeding. I think you can get back pretty close. But I think, and maybe you don't even really realize that you're not back, but then once you stop breastfeeding, then you're like, oh, after a couple months, even in a couple more months, you'll be like, this is like, okay, now I feel like myself. Like, I think that's a huge piece.
Yeah. And I think to your 90% comment, it's just kind of like anyone that's either an athlete or has given birth. I mean, that moment where you are connected with your body and you're just like zoned in and you're like, hey, my body's doing what we like practiced or, we know what to do. And I had those moments in my sports too. Like I'd be totally exhausted, but I was like, oh, here's the strength. This is what I've trained for. Like Iron, it's like the race is hard, but it's the training that is really tough. But I remember those training days where I was exhausted, but I could just really tune in with my body. And that's why I say, like now, 2 years postpartum and post breastfeeding, like that's the first time I felt like that click again. It just felt, yeah, like I was just like training and I just had those exhausted days where I just was like, okay, this will pay off later, but I don't really feel my strength yet.
So if someone's listening and they're pregnant or they're newly postpartum and they're feeling a little lost, what would you want to tell her around sports, athletics, training, like whatever piece you think is important? What would you want to tell her?
If you're feeling a little lost, what do you enjoy? Like just tap back into that and do something that feels attainable. Just get something on the calendar. You don't have to have a whole training plan. It's like, just like with sports, if I felt like disconnected with my body, I would sign up for an event. With pregnancy or postpartum, I was like, my friend actually hit me up and was like, do you want to do a 10K? And I was like, no. And she's like, do you want to walk a 10K together? And I'm like, yeah, because I get to hang out with you. And she's like, and maybe we run a little bit. And so like we put that on the calendar and it was like, okay, now I have to like run and walk multiple times a week. And so it was just something that I was looking forward to. Like, even though I wasn't going to like run a race, like I was going and signed up for an event with a friend who I really enjoy. And it could be something like that or like a yoga class, or even I would put like 10 minutes of like breathing and stretching on the calendar, but it's like on the calendar, and actually following through with that was like huge because then that just built momentum for like my mental health and like that physical journey of just reconnecting with myself. Cause and you as well, and a lot of like parents just like put themselves on the back burner, and it's like, we deserve at least 10 minutes and to see friends that like fill our cup again so we can keep going.
Yeah. You just said a lot of important things in those like few sentences, because I think it's important to remember that we don't have to put something on the calendar to win it, right? Like you said, like, no, I don't want to run a 10K. Like, do you want to walk a 10K? Like, yes, that's so important. Like the same thing with, like, I did a weightlifting competition after my first son was born at about, what was I, 5 or 6 months postpartum. And I knew perfectly well I was not going to win that competition, but like, it was just to like have something on the calendar, something fun to do, something to work towards, you know? And so I think that's like changing the mindset a little bit can be really important and gives us a lot of motivation to keep moving. And you're right. We do generally, lots of moms put ourselves on the back burners. And yeah, man, like if you can't give yourself 10 minutes, then I gotta like give you the number to my therapist, because we all deserve much more than that to like keep our bodies and our minds sharp for our families and for ourselves.
Yeah. That's another thing. Therapy. Like,
Yeah.
and that was something for me and my partner. Like, I was like, I want therapy. He was like, what's your must-have list? And I was like, oh, therapy for myself. And they were like, what else? And I was like, therapy for us. Even if we don't, like, we have a great relationship, but it's like, hey, we need to still check in with each other the same way we like go to the dentist and the doctor. And it's like, hey, this therapist reminds us to like, oh, did you put those 10 minutes on the calendar for yourself? Like, they have someone outside of like our exhausted parenting dynamic to like remind us to put ourselves first so we can keep showing up for each other and our kid.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Well, that is a great place, I think, to drop the mic. But Erika, you are a doula. So you are a doula among many other things. You wear many hats, but would you tell people where they can find you, or if they want to work with you, how they can do that?
Yeah, I don't have my doula website up, which is so great, but they can hit me up at the fitting room. I am a bike fitter as well, and I do pregnancy and postpartum bike fits, and they can hit me up at thefittingroomseattle.com, or Erika at thefittingroomseattle.com is my email about any doula inquiries. I do have paperwork and a website in the works, but I do have like contracts and different services that we can talk about for like postpartum doula services. And I do take on a couple birthing clients, but I'm balancing doula work, bike fitting, and parenting. And so, yeah, if we don't click, then I have a list of other trusted professionals, which you're on there, obviously.
No, I thank you.
That just like build that village, because I think that, as you know, like our village, we don't necessarily live close to family. And sometimes our chosen family moves away. And so it helps to just build people that you click with. And that may or may not be me, but I can direct you to someone else if we don't.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing just part of your journey. I know it's just a little snippet, but hopefully it helps some other moms out there to feel like, okay, it's not the end. The end is not in sight. The end's never in sight. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, maybe, of like getting back to physical activity and doing it the way you want to do it and how you want to do it. And maybe not when you want to do it because, those kids. But thank you so much for your time. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Every Mom is an Athlete isn't just a podcast. It's a reminder. Motherhood is athletic, and you're still the athlete you've always been. But it's not about going back. It's about moving forward intentionally and powerfully. If this episode resonated with you, I'd so appreciate it if you'd share it with a friend, leave a quick review, or rate the show. It helps more moms to hear what they need to believe, that every mom is an athlete. See you next time.